Hello, I'm George Constable and I'm a lecturer here in the Department of Mathematics, but I'm also the Careers and Employment Officer, which means I'm responsible for the career development of our undergraduates here in the Math Department, and for your career development too if you choose to join us. So with that in mind, it'd be remiss of me not to talk about the current employment situation, which is being affected by the ongoing pandemic. So data from prospects.ac.uk suggested that recruitment is likely to be at reduced levels of around 2/3 until at least 2022, 2023 and potentially beyond. And perhaps even more worrying from that same data set, Graduate Coach found that 90% of graduates don't know how to write CVs and interview well, okay? So that sounds a bit kind of doom and gloom, but it's not all bad news. 1/3 of the top hardest to fill vacancies are still in the mathematical disciplines, including careers like programming, financial services, public administration and defense, and education, okay? So that deals with the job market side of things. And from this kind of soft skills point of view, what I want to kind of communicate over the next sort of 5 to 10 minutes is that these soft skills are baked into our program here at York. Okay, so the key questions that I want to answer for you today are essentially why a degree in mathematics, why a degree in mathematics at York specifically, and what do we do here at York to ensure your success. Okay, so let's start with the easy one, why a degree in mathematics. So questions people might ask about careers in mathematics, the first one would be, who employs mathematicians? And the answer is everybody, right? There's loads of different industries that are very varied, where the analytic skills that you develop during the course of a maths degree are highly valued, okay? And this means that you come out with a maths degree basically with a lot of flexibility about the particular industry that you go into, ranging from things like accountancy to biosciences to food and drinks, IT and computing, manufacturing, the automotive industry, a really varied range of options. The second question people might ask is how much do you get paid? Do you get remunerated well for these skills? And the answer is yes. So here's some data from America, but the situation is quite similar in the UK, and you can see that you can end up getting paid quite well with these for these analytic skills. I'd also like to draw your attention here to these jobs like data scientist and data modeler, because we'll be talking about them a little bit later. Okay, so we've seen why you do a degree in mathematics. Now the interesting questions. Why York? What do we do for you? Okay, I wanted to start off with a case study of programming. So you remember those data scientist jobs, the ones that were particularly well paid, where you can go online and look for the specific skills they're looking for, the programming languages they want you to know, okay? And here's a list of them, and we'll teach you about these languages here in the program at York. So you'll learn about Java in your second year in Math Skills 2, R, which is particularly used in stats, you'll learn about there as well, but you'll also have the opportunity to use it in lots of other modules related to statistics, okay? Should you choose to take them in your third year. You'll also learn about Java numerical analysis, where you'll also learn about symbolic programming languages such as Maple and Mathematica, and also C++. C++ is particularly prominent in finance, so we have a module on that as well, C++ programming with applications in finance. Meanwhile, MATLAB is very popular in engineering, so we teach you about that as well, in partial differential equations too, and modeling with MATLAB. Excel's a bit of an odd one, especially following things like the test and trace fiasco, but it is very popular with industry, okay? So we teach that here as well. Following feedback from employers, they said, you know, Excel's not always the best, but it is kind of the industry standard in lots of different areas. So we incorporated that into our curriculum in order to give you the skills you need, no matter what industry you choose to go into. Python, we don't teach explicitly, but it is very similar to Java. So much so that some of my students get in touch with me rewriting the code that I provide in MATLAB in Python because they prefer Python. Okay, so we've talked about programming. What about soft skills? These are skills like group work, presentations, report writing and research synthesis. These are skills that you're going to have to evidence on your CV and in interviews for various jobs in industry. And we're going to be training you in these skills right from day one here at York. Starting off in your first year with Math Skills 1, moving on to Math Skills 2 in your second year, and finally looking at group and final year projects in your third or fourth year if you're doing an MMath. And during the course of these projects, you're going to be tackling research questions which are very much applicable to industry. So things like, how does math solve queuing problems, not just in the supermarket, but for things like servers? How is mathematics used to model traffic flow? What is the mathematical meaning of chaos? These are all just in your first year. In your second year, you'll be looking at kind of more complex questions, using maths to predict ecosystem stability, analysing real police and NHS data, using projective geometry from computer vision, computationally modelling epidemics. These are just a few of the things we're doing at the minute. And finally, your group or final year project in your third or fourth year, you'll be doing things like the analysis of Boston house prices, forecasting match results for the Premier League, bioinformatics for coronaviruses, geometry and auction prices, how to train deep neural networks, that's touching on AI, and more than 200 more projects. And I think it's very clear, looking at these sorts of project titles, how you can really kind of take the things you learn here and move them forward to applications for industry positions. At this point, I think it's important to mention that we take projects incredibly seriously here at York. This is perhaps the most exciting part of a maths degree. This is an opportunity for you to work on research level mathematics with an expert in the field. This isn't something that's offered at all universities, okay? So if I look across other Russell groups, many universities just don't offer projects at BSc level, and they're just reserved for MMath students. And in many others, the project is an optional, non-core part of the curriculum. Here we consider it a very important part of your career development. It's a core part of the curriculum, essentially because it really gives you so much. The ability to go away and look at research, kind of extract important bits of information, communicate that to a wide audience, write that up in a report and present it to experts in the field. Our passion for projects extends further to offering dissertation projects with industrial collaborators. So to give you some examples of things that are going on at the minute, we have students working with agri-food innovation companies, with biological and chemical detection technology companies, doing things like chemical and biochemical profiling, looking at biomarkers for ash dieback, modelling the control of crop pathogenic fungi, and differentiating whiskey blends, a particularly exciting one. We also work with various companies to offer volunteering projects to help bolster your CV. So even if you don't want to commit to a dissertation project, you can do things like volunteering projects. So at the minute, we're working with the National Railway Museum in order to help them design exhibits based on mathematics. Okay, now we turn to employability, those skills that 90% of graduates said they were bad at. We take this very seriously here in the maths department, so much so that we actually bake it into the curriculum. So in the first year, we'll have you writing CVs and be giving you feedback on your CVs and giving you tips on how to get experience in internships. In your second year, we'll have you writing cover letters and giving you advice on them. We also run careers events where we invite maths students back to the department to tell you what it's like to be, for instance, an actuary. We also run career workshops on things like numerical reasoning. So not just how to do numerical reasoning, but how to show you're good at numerical reasoning in an interview scenario. Across the university, we have things like York Strengths, which is an employability program designed to, again, improve your skill set, designed by companies such as PricewaterhouseCoopers and GlaxoSmithKline. We also have the graduate mentorship scheme here at York, which includes maths graduates such as quantitative analysts, teachers and financial planners, and that gives you an opportunity to connect with them, and they can tell you what it's like to be in those careers and what you need to do to successfully navigate that industry. And finally, we also have interview workshops. These are in-person phone assessment center workshops to help prepare you for those various hurdles, as well as one-to-one careers appointments to kind of help you find the career that's going to make you happy. So careers and placements, as the name suggests, also help you get placements. So these are things like year in industry, which we also offer here in maths. So currently we have students working for companies like Pfizer, Hiscox, a niche insurance provider, logistic and supply chain companies such as Unipart Rail, and agri-food innovation companies such as Ferra. Okay, these are a great opportunity for you to get experience of working in the real world. And we also have had students that have gone and done a year in industry, and this has turned into a job after they've graduated. Thinking about that kind of angle and destinations, our graduate prospect score is between 81 and 85%, depending on what newspaper you read. And some examples of graduate destinations from York include, but are not limited to, quantitative analysts, that's using maths to predict the direction of stock market changes and make money, business analysts, teachers, financial planners, risk managers, IT program managers, actuaries, data engineers, computer game programmers building physics engines for various programs, modelers, for instance, modeling transport, PhD students. We've got people working on epidemiological modeling with the Imperial team, modeling COVID, and lots more, okay? So essentially, we're really well set up here. We're really thinking hard about you and your career and what we can do to help you be successful in your career, not just in terms of getting you the skills you need, but also finding you a career that'll make you happy in the long run.